Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the first Summit for Democracy. This gathering has been on my mind for a long time for a simple reason. In the face of sustained and alarming challenges to democracy, universal human rights, and all around the world, democracy needs champions. And I wanted to host this summit because here in the United States, we know as well as anyone that renewing our democracy and strengthening our democratic institutions requires constant effort. American democracy is an ongoing struggle to live up to our highest ideals and to heal our divisions, to recommit ourselves to the founding idea of our nation, captured in our Declaration of Independence, not unlike many of your documents. We say, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all women and men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. We say, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all women and men are created equal, that all women and men are created equal.
So the Democracy Summit took place a couple days ago. Did anyone notice? Did you notice? I didn't notice. Joe Biden, all women and men are created equal. Really, Joe Biden? Is that what Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence? I don't think so.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all women and men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights.
I mean, we all understand your general woke sentiment, your virtue signaling that you're trying to convey, but just read the quote the way it was written from Thomas Jefferson. Everyone who's watching you understands the context back then, and they understand what it means today. Why do you have to insert your woke ideology into something like the Declaration of Independence? Anyway, let's move on to the Democracy Summit. Now, I had no clue that a video Zoom call Democracy Summit was taking place. Otherwise, I would have freed up my calendar to watch the 5-hour plus live stream. The Biden White House invited over 100 countries, including the EU, which is not a country, but a globalist transnational organization with appointed leaders who are voted in by no one and accountable to no one. But anyway, all these people were invited on this Zoom video call, this Democracy Summit, to discuss the decline of democracy and what world leaders should do about it. And the Democracy Summit opened up with US President Joe Biden and Secretary of State Blinken sitting on some constructed soundstage, probably the studio that was built across the street from the White House. In front of them, a giant, a massive video wall, where on that video wall you had a bunch of world leaders who most of us have never heard of, appearing in what was surely the most boring Zoom call in all of history. Can you imagine having to sit through a 5-hour video summit, listening to Joe Biden, to Anthony Blinken, to Ursula Evangelion, Samantha Power, and other neoliberal tools blather on about a lack of democracy? Can you imagine if you're a president of a country and you got an invite to this thing? What a great way to punish someone in your cabinet that you don't like, someone that you absolutely detest. You just get an invite to Joe Biden's Democracy Summit. Yeah, George, listen, I got an invite to Joe Biden's Democracy Summit. It's a Zoom video call summit. It's going to be about 5-6 hours long. And I would like you to sit in on this summit for the whole day, listening to Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken and Ursula von der Leyen go on about democracy for 6 hours. Good luck, George. I hope you enjoy the video call with Joe Biden and the Democracy Summit. Bye-bye. What torture would that be to sit on this video call for 5 hours talking about democracy with a bunch of people who have zero understanding of democracy? These video Zoom calls have become a staple of the Biden White House. The way he campaigned in the basement, reading from a script, speaking to a webcam, is exactly how he is running his presidency. Only now, instead of sitting in Delaware in his basement, he's sitting in a custom-built DC studio, not only boring America, but he is boring the entire world with his nonsense. I guess it's fitting to have a Democracy Summit. After all, you are talking about the president who got 81 million votes, the most in history, chairing a meeting on democracy. So why not? let's have a democracy summit with US President Joe Biden. 81 million votes, Joe Biden. This is like a parody skit or something. I mean, the elites that put Biden in power, they're having fun with us, aren't they? I mean, they're taking a piss at our expense. No doubt about it. No freaking doubt about it. They sat in some room and they said, you know what would be fun to do? Let's take this clown, this puppet Biden, and create a democracy summit. Just so we can, make fun of everybody and the fact that he got 81 million votes, the most in US history. So yeah, let's do a democracy summit. Let's go for it. It'll be fun to watch from our cave on our evil island somewhere. That is exactly what the elites and oligarchs that are orchestrating all of this stuff are doing. I'm sure they're sitting in some room smoking their cigars, just having fun at all of this nonsense. I mean, this is a freaking skit. This is a skit. And the countries not invited to the Democracy Summit, well, the baddies of the world, China, Russia, Hungary. I'm sure that Xi Jinping, Viktor Orban, and Vladimir Putin are absolutely upset. I'm sure they're crushed because they weren't invited to the summit, because they got snubbed. When Biden plays world leader pretend, Russian President Vladimir Putin is getting on a plane, traveling to India, visiting with Modi face to face, and he is signing deals, 99 pages worth of deals. And then the response from the deep state is a military helicopter crashes and 11 people die. Just saying, one hell of a coincidence what went down in India. But anyway, a coincidence, just a coincidence, everybody. And so what was this democracy summit all about? Well, most of the speeches whined about how democracy is being undermined by far-right, ultra-nationalist, populist, domestic sovereigntist, super far-right groups. You know, those people that you've never met in your life and don't exist in your country, but that they go on about over and over and over again ad nauseum. Those people. That's what this democracy summit was all about. Orange Man Bad is subverting our democracy. At the same time that our democratic leaders are mandating digital IDs, they're locking down populations, they have unelected health officials dictate policy, but whatever, let's all have a democracy summit, why not? And so their solution to democracy's decline? Clamp down on forces that subvert the move towards a new world order. The EU's van der Leyen, she gave it all away. It's all about hate speech and clamping down on those who dare to speak out against our leaders and their infinite wisdom. Listen to Ursula von der Leyen.
Which brings me back to Biden's summit today. Now, the biggest tell that this has nothing to do with promoting democracy is the fact that the president of the EU was invited.
We know how painful it is when a small group takes unlimited power and imposes a single vision on all of society. It is why we have put forward measures to help protect people online from illegal content, hidden political advertisement, or disinformation. It is why we are proposing to add hate speech and hate crime to the list of crimes in our treaties.
Yeah, I'm gonna trust her to regulate hate speech. Okay. Now, let's see. A transnational, undemocratic body that's totally unaccountable to the voters in their own countries, imposing speech restrictions to punish their political opponents.
The unelected, unaccountable leader of the European Union is lecturing all of us about democracy and free speech and hate speech, whatever the hell that even means. Yeah, democracy is in trouble because of free speech and free thinking and all of that stuff. More censorship, more jabs, more lockdowns, more mail-in votes. That's the solution. That's the solution to fix democracy. That's what they're telling us. Democracy's in trouble. So what do we need? Well, we need more power. So people need to give us more power. If we have more power, that's how we'll fix democracy. And anyone that goes against our power, well, we'll cancel them. Maybe we'll lock them up in some camp in Australia, or maybe we'll just do away with the Nuremberg Code, like Ursula suggested last week. The Democracy Summit was theater. It was a world order farce, another way to lay the groundwork for more tyranny in the name of democracy, more lockdowns in the name of democracy, and more division in the name of democracy. Once you understand how these narcissist psychopaths who we call leaders operate, then you can see through their petty games and understand what we saw was not a summit on democracy, but a puppet show meant to scare us into believing that up is down, black is white, and democracy is dead unless we give them more power or unless they take more power. That's what this whole summit was about. Give us more power and we'll fix democracy. Yeah, right. Anyway, everybody, that is the video, the Duran.locals.com, the Duran Shop 10% off. Use the code GOODDAY and go to SuperU, BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey to see all our videos on those free speech platforms. Take care.